Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my photo editing live stream where you can submit your images and I edit them here live. I've already gotten quite a few in, so if you submit any during the stream, I may or may not have time to get to it. So ideally you submitted already, as many of you have, and also I give you a chance to edit my photos, so you can download that. And it's always interesting to see what you guys do with mine. I always get some good ideas. Pardon me for a sec. But anyhow, let me know that the audio and video is okay, and then we'll just get right into it. And looks like we got some interesting images. I just downloaded them. I think I see like an infrared or something in there, which is kind of cool. But I see Garrett's here, Jeff Painter, Joanne, good to see you. I think all of you submitted something today. And Gert, good to see you. Um, audio, video, all good. Okay. Um, Let me pull up the video. And, there is one thing I forgot to do. Uh, well, it's okay. We can do the stream regardless. Oh, where's the button? There we go. And sorry, give me a second here. I just need to arrange my screens so I can see the chat at the same time. Rick is here, Paul is here, Jan, good to see you. Okay, and I think I can close this window now. And we can go back to, here we go. Okay, so let's see what this is from Stefan. And it's either infrared or a full spectrum. I think it's probably a full spectrum conversion because looking at the settings here at 1/40th of a second, if you're using some sort of filter on front of your lens, like an infrared filter, I would imagine your shutter speed and or your ISO would be much higher or slower. Oh wow, Sony NEX5. I think that's the one. Oh, I have an NEX6. But yeah, I'm very familiar with this series. It's the first interchangeable lens camera that I've owned. Okay, so I think what we'll do, I haven't edited like infrared in a long time. And I'm guessing this is more of a full spectrum because doesn't look, it looks a little different than an infrared would, but I don't do that often. So let's do some perspective corrections and see where we're at. Okay, we cut off a little bit of the top here. So I'm going to just crop in a bit. And I am using DxO Photolab 8, which is my favorite photo editor. Stay tuned next week. Black Friday's around the corner, so they always do something on Black Friday or thereabouts. I think let's do a little bit. Let's see, this is a 3x2. Let's try maybe a 4x3. No, I think 3x2 will work because I want to make sure I keep sort of just the very edge here. And let's see how that looks. Not bad. If I back this off a little bit. So, doing things like white balance and color corrections is going to be pretty limited because really we're just working with this sort of magenta reddish tones. So, I can drop the white balance thing on a cloud, but then let's see, that kind of gets us there. And let's just bring up the exposure. So I'm going to tweak this manually a little bit. Just to get it to where I like it. And next thing I'll do is let's bring the sky back and turn it back to blue. So I don't know if I want to do that globally. Let's see what happens if I shift this back to blue. So I have this color wheel. Okay, that's not bad. That works. And I think it makes it a little more interesting. Now, what colors do we have in here? We have more of this purplish. Let's shift this back to, no, that's not working too well. Yeah, this is what I mean. There's not a lot of range, ironically, even though it's full spectrum with the colors. Maybe I just don't know how to edit these kind of photos, but let's try that. That separates sort of these the greens and the foliage. And then let's pick this color. Where are we at? We're still in the purples. Yeah, it's hard to see. This is very, very limited. Even though visually it looks different to us, you got to remember the original image is pretty much all this red. So when you're working with the color wheel, it's not seeing what we see here. It's looking at the original image. So that's why it's having a hard time separating. So what I'll have to do is just do local adjustments because I do want to accentuate some of these greens. I'll just use a brush. Just a soft brush. There's a little bit there. Okay. Let's see if we can just brighten those a bit. Give it a little definition. Okay. Let me try one other thing. I'm not quite happy with how these buildings look. Oops. Let's try and white balance on this building. Interesting. Now my sky is a little bit jacked up. So let me go back to this, or was it this red? Let me see if I can, because I'm getting a little bit of bleed. There we go. If I stretch this out a little bit, because if you remember it, it was kind of looking like that, kind of noisy. But if I spread that out, okay. And I'm going to tweak the white balance again. Maybe right there. Okay. Not sure. All right, let's work with that. All right, let me bring the lighting back down, and I'm just going to do some light painting. So let's do this. Oops, that's the wrong one. This one. See if we can tighten up the luminosity and the chroma. And I just want this to be a little bit brighter. Okay, right there. And let's do some local adjustments here. I want to bring the light down into the alley here. Let's do that. And then maybe a smaller one up here. And a smaller one here. And then we'll do a little bit of light in here. And maybe a tiny bit right there. Let's see, that's a little bit harsh. Let's do, there we go. And then we'll get a tiny bit more to reflect in here. We'll just push the shadows a bit. I don't want to push the, I just wanted to just give it a little bit. That's too much. Just a little bit more over here. Okay, how about there? There we go. And a little bit there. No. We'll keep that shadow a little bit harsh. All right, let's add some global micro contrast. Get the definition of those lines a little bit harder. Maybe some clear view. And then we'll push the overall brightness back just a hair. There, okay. So let's see how that looks. We'll call it there. Okay, I think that looks good. I mean, I didn't want to bring it back to a full-on realistic color scheme because that would be really hard. But I'm not used to editing this kind of image, right? Like a full spectrum infrared type image. But I think that looks okay. Let me do just a little bit more push in these windows. Let's make these darker. And then we'll also like to make this top part a little bit darker, just because the scene overall looks a little bit flat. See if I can, there we go. Just, well, maybe not that way. Let's do it with a, yeah, something like that. Just wanted to give it a little more contrast overall. All right, now I'm done. So there's the, There's the before and after. So, and I think an argument can be made to try to keep the skies a little bit red, just to keep in line with this full spectrum kind of look. Just to give you an idea of what that would look like, I just have to go back to, I think this red channel here, and just put it back to red. Maybe increase the intensity a bit. Because now you know it's a full spectrum or infrared image. But a lot of people, I think they like to kind of bring the skies back sort of a bluish color as well. So you have a few options here, but like I said, because this is essentially all red, it's very, very hard to separate the tones without doing local adjustments. But I think that came out pretty good. All right, let's go to the next one. And this one is from, and oh, I'm sorry, this was from Stefan. Thank you, Stefan, for sending that in. All right, let's go over to one here. This one is from Jeff Painter. Awesome. Okay, so we have a lovely scene here in the park. Lady with her dog. Very nice. I feel like we need a little bit of perspective correction. When you don't really have anything completely straight in this horizon, so there's a little bit of a hill here. I like to use the legs of the person or the dog for kind of making it look a little straighter. And we'll just auto crop that. And I think from here, let's get rid of the right side empty space. I think a 4x5 might look pretty good. Something like that. So the dog is almost centered. Okay, I like that composition. And I don't like to do global pushes, but let's push a little bit here, and then we'll do a little bit more. Let's do some little bit of contrast because it's a little bit soft in here. On the RX 100 Mark IV. Okay. So we need a why is our hand like this? It's like she's giving us a hand signal. Okay. On the dog. So I'm thinking maybe use the flash here. Like, I don't know if the EXIF data will show that. Oh yeah, there is flash. I say that because I see this green in the eyes. So this dog's probably a little bit older, but it looks young. Anyway, from here, let's see if we can bring, I doubt we can, I'm guarantee this is all clipped. Oh, let me download the optical corrections first. I didn't even apply my basic preset, but it doesn't really need much. Let's see, where are those? I'll do that. And do some auto stuff. Okay. So what I want to do is just sort of minimize this sky a little bit. Because it's completely clipped, but it's too bright. So I'm going to just bring the white point down a bit via the exposure wheel. I'd like to keep this side lighting here on the dog and person. So let's do a little bit on the face, on the body. Again on the face and the front of the body. And just push the shadows even more. And the midtones. And get some clarity back in. I'd have to do it with a little bit of contrast. And then we'll exaggerate the lighting on the side here. Oh, Jeff says this is his wife of 48 years and our German Shepherd, Stella. Wow. Wow. That is awesome. You're so lucky, Jeff. All right, let me see where I'm at. Okay, this is a bit much here. So we're going to go down this side. Maybe a little bit more. And this color's a little bit strong, so I'm going to pull that back a little bit. Give it a little push on the luminance. And let's do just a little bit more here. I know these aren't eyes, but sunglasses, sometimes you can see if I can just bring out just get them to show a little bit more. All right, we're almost there, I think. The only problem is this light on the chest is a little bit unnatural. Okay. We're getting there. All right, so let me work on the background a little bit now. And so I like the color I'm seeing back here. Oops, get that off of her. Okay, just a little bit too much. Bring it down as well. What I'm trying to do is just minimize some of the softness I'm seeing in the background. And it's not like a depth of field kind of softness. It's more of a haze and flaring type of softness. Whoops. I like that one. Okay, we need just a little bit more tilt, I think. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right, now, uh, just a tiny bit here and tiny bit more here. This one needs to be a new. I could probably do the same thing on this side. Yeah, this side's not working so well. All right. A slight pull again here. Dang it, I messed that up. Hold on. I need to what I don't like is this red here. Why is let's do one more thing. Just want to pull some of the reds in here. We'll tighten the chroma mask. There we go. Okay. Oh, we're almost done. Let me. Done. Hold on. I'm sorry. Somebody's at my door. Sorry about that. My mom came over. Okay, I think we're in good shape here. So let me uh let me just brighten it overall. Just just a hair. And I'm going to export this because we applied some other corrections. There. Let's export this and see how it looks. I think I'm going to pull these in a bit. So I'm getting just a little bit too much bleed. Well, anyway, let's see how the export looks. So we'll reset this and compare it to the export. All right, there we go. So just a crop down to a 4x5. And I didn't really do enough on the dog, but overall, I think this is probably 90% of where I'd go with this image. Um, I would love to, dang it. You know, these kind of images, I feel like it's important to take time on these kinds of images because these are your, memories, right? Lifetime memories of your friends and family, significant other in this case. So I like to just spend a little extra time on these. So what I would do here is just pull the shadows in a little stronger. And then I promise I'll be done in just a minute. And just spot hit some of the highlights. Okay, now I'm done. Anyway, that's 95% now where I would go. I would spend a little more time on the highlights here in the background and stuff. Just pull them in a tiny bit. Um, just a little bit like that. And then a little bit more on the dog. Something like that. All right, let's go to the next one. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing that precious photo. And let's go to the next one. Ooh, what a lovely scene here. Let's apply. This is from Gert. Okay. Canon R5, 100 to 400. Oh, my friend just bought, I think, this exact same setup. Okay. So I love the trees. Obviously, we're going to get the birds and then these lines here in the grass. So we need to, sorry. I keep getting, so let's apply basic preset. I keep forgetting to do this. Here's a basic preset. Okay. And what I'm going to do first is just work on these birds a little bit. And just brighten them up. Have them stand out a little bit more. Okay, and then we need a little color in here. And here. And this guy got oops. Move over here. Let's pull this in a little bit tighter. Okay, that might be too much. Right about there. What's going on down here? Needs to be tighter. Okay, and then we'll do a little bit on the eyes. I know we're working with like 2 pixels in here, but you know, it can make a difference when you're looking at the picture as a whole. Let's go over here, get that eye. Right in there. Ooh, that one didn't. That one's not working out too well. Let's just make it smaller. Okay. Make that one smaller. So what I need really is just a little bit more like that. There we go. This color. This guy needs a little bit more color. Okay. So that's that. And then, I should have done the composition first. But I'm going to go maybe about there. Okay. And let's bring in out those trees a little bit better. Okay. And I might be able to do this globally. What I want to do is just saturate this a little bit more. Okay. And then let's work on these greens a little bit. Okay, let me see where I'm at. There's a tiny bit in over here. Okay, I think that's good. Just a little bit more light on the birds. Let's do it this way. Warm them up a tiny bit. And then let's work. Just trying to add a little bit of dynamic range to the scene. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. Almost call it. This bird needs to be a bit brighter. If I can just blur this a tiny bit. No. I'll just pull the sharpness in a little bit. Do the same thing here. Okay, and then globally, Just pull in a tiny bit of micro contrast. A little bit of auto lighting there. Okay, let me export this one. And did that export? I'm sorry. Okay. Let's reset it. Do a side by side. And all right, so yeah, here's the edited image. Here's the original. So just a little crop so we can get right into the birds here, but I left just enough space around the birds. I was debating to go for, having the birds higher up in the frame versus lower in the frame. But I just love trees, so I decided to put the birds lower in the frame and use the trees. And then I wanted to expand on the sort of the lighting in the scene because it is brighter on the right side, but it's very, very subtle. So I tried to exaggerate that more here on the left. I should desaturate this a tiny bit over here maybe, but uh, yeah, this feels much richer and more lush and feels like there's more natural sunlight coming in instead of being this is definitely a very cloudy day. So it's making it very drab. Um, but yeah, I think that works as it is. So if we oh, this exported as a gosh darn it. Let me let me export this without resizing. My bad. There we go. And then what I want to do here is punch into the details and see. So if I reset this and compare. So yeah, that's a lot better. I just love how DxO can just pull details out of nothing sometimes. I think the focus seems to be over here, so your depth of field's a little bit too shallow, but that's okay. I should have added some sharpening. Oh, I didn't do deep prime or nothing on this? Hold on. Yeah, I did. I did all that stuff. Okay, so we're good. All right, so here's the exported image. Here's the final image. I think that came out really nice. Okay. All right, I think I saw some questions. Oh, yeah, Robert's here. Good to see you. Um, and thank you, Jeff. Great edit. I appreciate that. And what's that glowing thing by the dog's tail? It's probably a leaf. Let me see. Yeah, it's just the highlights. Might be a leaf or it's actually the fur. The highlight's a little bit too strong. I could have brushed that out. Sorry, I was looking here. That's easy enough to fix. Just a slight touch there. And then we'll just pull from over here. There. That fixes it somewhat. And let's see, we have Rob, I'm new to Photolab and your channel. Would you mind explaining the control point technique versus traditional masking and other software? Really struggling to get my head around it. Okay, I'll just do it very quickly. But the idea of a control point is, let's start a new one. Let's say I put one here on this branch, right? And you can see that it's masking the branch without really affecting anything around it. And that's because this control point is measuring the it's measuring the luminance and the chroma, so the brightness and the color of that particular point that we put this on. And you can control how much it it narrows the luminance or the brightness and the color by using these two sliders. So they're set to 50%, but if I turn these all the way down to 0, now you can see we have what's called basically a radial gradient, right? Or a radial mask. And it's not discriminating color or brightness. But as I slide these up, I can narrow it down to say, okay, only look at the color and brightness that matches this control point. But it does it as a percentage, right? So if I want to make it even tighter, you can see that now it's masking, the masking is very, very tight here. So it's looking at a very narrow range of color and brightness. So that's kind of the basics of that. What I like about control points is because, the workflow is very, very fast with Photolab. I can just add another one here and another one here very quickly versus Lightroom, they have the drop down box over here where you have to do plus, select the brush or the gradient. I don't know. The workflow is a lot slower in Lightroom than it is in Photolab. We're doing the same thing, and it doesn't do it by luminance and color. It's just a basic uh, radial mask like that in Lightroom. So in Lightroom, I have to typically make these smaller and go around. But anyway, that's the basic idea. So if I wanted to exaggerate this moss, right, that's kind of growing on the tree here, uh, let me zoom in up here. You can see that the way it's masking now, it's not really isolating the moss that's growing on the tree. So I can tighten up the luminosity mask, and now it's narrowing in, or I can do it by color, or both. So now I'm masking just the moss, and then I can brighten it, right? Like this. So you kind of get the idea. That's just kind of a rough idea. I would bring this in a little bit tighter. And then I can do that on the green up here. Kind of bring in the greens on the tree. Something like that. So that's why I like Photolab, because the workflow is very fast and I feel like it is very intuitive and gives me a lot more control over very specific parts of the image. Because you'll notice that I really do very little over here, right? I just added, a tenth here, a little bit in the shadows and a little bit of clarity and contrast, but I don't really need to do much with the global adjustments. I always work with the control points. Oh, let's see. And Claire, awesome. Thank you so much. I guess you're now a member now. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support very much. Okay, and then let's see. the noise at ISO 6400 looks very similar to my, it does look similar because the pixel density between the Canon R5 and the Micro Four Thirds is very, very similar. The key difference is the R5 has like 45 megapixels, so you can capture a much bigger frame, and the noise effectively is smaller and finer, and it appears to be less noise than a Micro Four Thirds. But when you crop in and look at the pixels, like if I were to crop into 20, less than like 20 megapixels of the 45 megapixel camera, the noise is going to look very similar when I scale things back to the same size, because the pixel density of every pixel is very, very similar. Ultimately, you'll get a little bit more noise on the Micro Four Thirds because it is a higher pixel density than the Canon R5 even, because the Canon R5, uh, you'd have to be closer to 60 to 80 megapixels to get the same pixel density as a Micro Four Thirds. So ultimately, the Micro Four Thirds is going to have more noise. But for what you're seeing here is, I'm at 45 megapixels, and you're looking at it on a live stream. So if you were to look at this live on your own computer screen, the differences would be even more significant. But generally speaking, that's why the noise looks similar. It's because the pixel density is not that far off, and and you're watching it through a live stream instead of seeing it on your own computer monitor. Okay. And then Gert says, good work. Really had problems editing that bird shot. Do not like the busy backgrounds. Oh, okay. Very good. I appreciate that. And it looks like, how did I skip all of these? Let me get to this one here. This one is from Garrett. I don't know why I jumped from here to here, but anyhow, let's get back into the business. How do I? All right, beautiful bird. Wow. Let's apply basic preset. I'm going to try and move very quickly here because it looks like I got a lot of images. But bird shots I'm pretty good at, so I can do these a lot faster. When I'm doing people shots and portraits, I really have to take my time because I don't do them every day. But bird shots I do all the time, so it's easy for me to get into these pretty quickly. Let's do this on the greens, and this is another example of tightening up the mask. So I'm just doing the greens now, right? The brightness is about the same between the bird and the background, so I'm gonna tighten the mask on just the color. And what I want to do there is just give it a little more definition and pull it in. I'm gonna make it darker than you might expect, but that's okay. And I'm gonna go a little bit tighter down here. I'm gonna do the same thing on the log. Move it over a little bit. There. Maybe pull the highlights in. And then I'm just going to do a global brightening like that. Let me go back to this mask. Okay, see how that looks. Okay, that's good. And let's see if we can get a little more directional light here. Bring this in. I'll just push the midtones a tiny bit. Add a little bit of this and some micro contrast. And then let's work on the eye. Push the shadow. And clear view. Do the same thing on the beaks. And then let's accentuate this orange color. Let's try just vibrance. Okay, just a little vignette and we're done. Okay, I'm going to export this one. And let's do a quick comparison. With the output. All right. Do a side by side. Okay. So yeah, I think that looks a lot better. So again, I always try to separate the subject from the background through lighting. And so I just basically darken the background and the foreground uh, more than I needed to, but then brighten the image overall. So that effectively brightens up the bird. And then if we look at the fine detail, oh, I need to work on this edge a little. Okay. I'm getting some artifacts around the edges because I pushed it a little bit too much, um, but I just want you to see the detail on the bird actually. What a difference it makes between DxO and, DxO and the default image straight out. But the straight out of camera image is really sharp. Uh, like if you look at the feathers here, we're actually getting a lot of detail here. And then I just use Photolab to kind of accentuate that, as you can see. Photolab does a good job at separating the uh, the detail out from the softness. So this was the R50 with the 100 to 400, and that's awesome. That's an awesome shot. Awesome camera combination. This is what Garrett. Yeah, Garrett, you got a great wildlife cam set up there. But I think that came out really nice. Okay, let's do the next one. And all right, we have a sort of a landscape here with a lake. I like this grass here, but it's too small in the frame. And the reflection and this, and then all of, so there's a lot of great individual elements here, but they're not really coming together for me. So I'm gonna have to pick what I want. And this is, oh, this is an iPhone image. Okay. Uh, so I'm not gonna have a lot of wiggle room anyway, because it's probably a JPEG. So I'm just gonna focus on the elements right in here. Well, let me apply basic preset. It's probably not gonna do anything because it's a JPEG. Let's look at a very, very wide crop here. See if I can keep some of the grass. Forget about the sky. Nope. The grass is not going to work. It's just too small in the frame. So let's work with this reflection and the sky here. I think that works. And then, like I said, I'm going to be very limited what I can do in here. I'm going to try and just bring some of this in. I'll probably have to do it with contrast. And I'm going to get a brush. Let's do an auto mask. I don't think I can do anything with this horizon, but we'll try. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Well, maybe not that. Let's Let's pull this off a little bit here and a little bit there. Bring a little bit in here. Bit in there. There's a little bit in there, isn't there? Okay. Oops, don't want to do that. Let's pull off a little bit of the top. I don't want to have too many weird artifacts. A little bit more. Okay. Pull off a little more here. Then I don't know if I can shift the colors. Let's see. That's too much. I think just a little bit on the warmer side. Again, I'm going to be very limited because of it's a JPEG. Then let me fix this edge. Where's that's my size. Let me pull this opacity down. Make this bigger. And then we'll do it this way. There we go. And just a little bit more in here. Okay, and then let's work in here a bit. Make this a little bit softer. And then desaturate a tiny bit. Okay, I think I'll stop here. So if we do, let's do a top to bottom. And compare. What if we do side by side? Okay, so yeah, this is just, you know, it's a wide angle shot, so you're going to capture a lot more than maybe you really needed. For me, I didn't need, obviously, just these plain old clouds here. I like this grass, but it was just too low in the frame to keep it. So I just decided to go 16 by 7. I think that works pretty well. The only other crop, if I do 16 by 9, I mean, the only other way to kind of keep everything is maybe do a vertical. And then you got the grass and the reflection and the sky all in one frame. And that kind of keeps it also sort of, I think, manageable to the eye so that there's not so much in the frame. But I think that works. That works as well. Even better is maybe do a triptych, or, you know, split it into 3 images where I can't do it in Photolab, but you know, you would take the center, take the left and the right, and make 3 separate images and put them up on a wall, right? uh, you can make 3 images this way. So that would be one, this would be another, and that would be another. And then do it as a, you know, a 3-shot. Put it in 3 different picture frames on a wall, and that would work too. Okay, let's go to the next one. That was sent in by Paul. Thank you, Paul. So I got that one, that one, that one. I don't know why the order changed on these. It's weird. That looks like my image. Okay, we have this one here. This is from John Follows. And we have I feel like John's always sending me pictures that are like near a church or a graveyard near a church. So Nikon Z8. So let's do a basic preset. I should be able to get through this one pretty quickly. Do a perspective distortion because architecture and wildlife I'm pretty quick with usually. Landscapes and portraits, people, it takes me a little bit longer. Just going to do some global adjustments just very quickly. God, I'm so popular today. People at my door, people calling me, texting me. I'm live streaming. I don't know. Okay. I think this would look great as a black and white, but I don't think John is a fan of black and white. So yeah, I like that. But I think John's more of a color, likes color better. So I'm gonna try and stick with color. But what I want to do is I'm gonna make this more of a golden. Before I do any local edits, let me finish the composition. I'm not sure I need this stone. I don't like this shadow here. So let me see if I can just frame it this way. I like these trees. Eeh, that's not, it's not working. I don't like this one distracting element here. But I want to get a little bit of grass too, so I don't think I can crop much more than that. So I'm going to try and minimize this, accentuate the trees and this foreground. I don't think these are worth bringing up, but maybe bring these up a little bit. And down here. Okay, let's minimize this guy. There, that's better. But I don't want to lose too much detail, so I'll put some contrast back in. Okay. Do the same thing over here. And let's see if we can accentuate these letters. There we go. Accentuate the letters, maybe this part here in the front. Hmm. See if I can isolate a little bit here on the front. I doubt it, but I'm going to try. Okay, we'll cool this off. Whoops. It's not what I wanted. I wanted. No, dang it. I gotta start a new one. Just want to bring these in, cool it off a bit. Okay. See where I'm at. It's very subtle. I'm not sure. Just little adjustments here. I think that's it. Okay. All right, so yeah, just a slight crop. I think there's too much here. I don't like this shadow. And then to bring up a little bit in the background and just mute the sky a tiny bit. But overall, there was kind of a green cast, kind of all over the place here. I guess because the grass is getting a lot of the light and reflecting its greenish tone onto everything else. So that's why I sort of uh, warmed up. I warmed up everything here sort of on a local basis. But I didn't want the background to get too warm, so I cooled these off separately, like the sides here, as you noticed. And I didn't really have to do anything with the greens. They look fine. They just sort of naturally got a little less green because I warmed up uh, this area in here. But I think that looks pretty good. I mean, it's very, very obvious on my screen. I think through YouTube or this live stream, it may not be quite as obvious how stark the difference is, but yeah, I'm just double checking. But I think this looks a lot better, just a little bit warmer. This greenish grass was just casting a very green tint kind of everywhere in the image. So I just tried to minimize that basically, and then bring out the lettering and the texture in the this particular gravestone. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Thank you, John, for sending that. And one more here from John. Beautiful horse. Okay, or pony. And again, this is a hill. This is on a hill. So that's why it looks a little bit off. You can tell because look at the gap here in the fence versus the gap over here. So this pony's on a hill. It's driving me nuts. But let's apply basic preset. Again, we're getting a very greenish tone all over this horse, so I want to try and minimize that. So I'm just gonna select this horse a little bit here and there and just push the warmth a little bit. Where are we at? We're at about 6,000. Let's go to about 6,500. Right in there, and just add a tiny bit of magenta. And that, yeah, that got rid of that greenish kind of tint. We can do the same thing on all the rocks or the stonework back in here too. Oops. What I meant to do is just bring these in a bit. Okay. So yeah, that's better. All right, now let's work on the overall tones. So the light, man, another really soft day. There's just no shadows here at all. But it appears the light's kind of coming in from the top left because the shadow's a little bit down on this side. So I'm going to try and accentuate that a tiny bit. Let's see if I can just pull that in. Let me tighten up the chroma mask. Something like that. Okay. And just a little more shadow in the front. We can do that with the clear. Push the highlights a bit. All right, and then let's do the eyes a tiny bit. Let's push that up. Ah, beautiful brown eyes on this horse. I don't want to make it look like an ood or anything. Right about there. Maybe a little bit in the ears too. Okay. I think the ears kind of need their own. Just give it a little boost. And a little bit on the horse's head. I'm going to warm this up a tiny bit. And we'll do the same all the way down. And again, it's mainly because the grass has such a strong green tint to everything. And it's the hardest thing to show on a live stream. I'm just going to do before and after here. Okay. These need to be a little bit smaller. All right, that's good. And a tiny bit of light in here. And let's see if I can crop just a tiny bit. Not a fan of this blue bucket over here. That might be too tight, but I think it's a little bit too tight. Okay. And kind of optionally, we can remove this. With something from here. Maybe from up here on the same focal plane. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And one last thing. I can probably have to be a little bit careful with this one. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit harder, but I just want to bring those in a bit. Okay. Back to, where's my control point? This one. Okay. Let's do a comparison. I would have liked to got it. You know what? 4x5, that'll do it. And just a slight movement up. All right, now I'm done. So yeah, I would fix this shadow. It's a little bit too harsh, but overall my intent was to bring the horse forward, get rid of this sort of green all over this horse that would be hard to see in the stream, but on my monitor here, when I'm looking at it directly, there's this green cast all over this horse from the grass. So I warmed up the horse a little bit and then tried to separate him more from the background through lighting by making it darker. So if we do a before and after like this, so that's the before and that's the after. Again, I need to fix the shadows over here. Let me see. did those pretty early on, right here. That might be a bit too strong. Just a little more subtle. There, that's better. Okay, that looks good. So thank you, John. Another beautiful image. Let's see what we have here. Some sort of statue from Vilum. OM1 12-40 Pro. Apply basic preset. Okay, good. Compositionally, we got some blues back here and some yellow. This is obviously a nice combination. I like this doorway. This statue is actually, to me, the distraction in the image. But that's just because I like architecture, right? I really like the architecture here in the background. And this statue is just, whatever this is in the way. Man. Whoever did the architecture or layout for this entire area, just, I think they messed up by putting the statue right here. Anyhow, let's do just a basic perspective correction. Let me see what we have inside. We have nothing here, nothing in here. So oh, the tree. So William's saying, I'll do the building next time. Yeah. The tree is just new. That's why I took it. Yeah. So they just stuck this in after the fact. I thought something was off. Whoever did that, that was the dumbest thing ever. To put it like right here. I mean, this would look good somewhere else, like not even on this same property, somewhere else completely different. It just doesn't go with this building at all. Okay. I don't know if I can bring out this statue a little bit more. Let me see if I can do a very tight luminosity mask. Like that. Okay. And then let's pull the highlights in a bit here and there. And okay, good. This like a little, oh, see if they were smart, they would have made this water, right? Like two little ponds here and put some lilies in them. I mean, I don't know what the weather's like there. That may not be appropriate, but two little ponds here that could reflect this tree. But what did they do? They planted, I guess, flowers here. And that probably looks great in the springtime, but year round, I think a pond would have been better. So you would have a pond for reflection in the winter and then lily pads or water lilies in the spring and summer. But then you could have like a nice reflection in the wintertime. But when you do it like this, you're gonna have like dead flowers and grass in the winter and then nice flowers in the spring. Oh, I mean, I'm not an architectural, like, I'm not an architect or, I don't have any credentials or qualification for criticizing this piece of art because the statue itself is not bad, but it's just in the wrong place. Um, I'm sorry, I shouldn't criticize this so much, but I can't help it. Let's see if I can separate this a little bit. Okay. And let's do a new one. And then we'll fix that. What is it? My flow is that coming off or not? Yeah. Too much. Let's pull the opacity back and try that again. All right, good enough. Well, too much, a little bit less. I just want to give it a little more, a little more separation. All right, and then let's go. Let's work on this building. Just some clarity. Okay, that works. A little bit of light, maybe a little smaller. It's kind of a distracting element, but I'm trying to balance this side a little bit. And let's pull these in. Get a little bit warmer. Okay. Let me see. Just a little bit tighter crop. I don't like that pole, but then that door needs to be complete. So we'll just leave it. little room there. All right, let me just check the lighting again. So I have a little bit of this probably that. Okay. That's hiding. Oh, I like this little red spot here. See if I can bring that up a little bit. It doesn't go with the statue or this tree, but nothing goes with that tree. Man, I would love to use this red spot, the red spot on the door, the red spot over here. Contrast that with the yellows and blues. But this frickin' tree is just blocking everything. So let's accentuate this light to kind of match this light. Stretch it a tiny bit. Okay. All right, I'm going to call it there. Let's see where we're at. It's a very subtle difference, but okay. So I did a perspective correction to make the line straight. I do that with all of my architectural photography that are pretty much level and straight on rather than looking up. So I don't have to deal with like what do you call that? Skewing. But yeah, I wanted this light is really strong, so I kind of brought this light over here to make it stronger. Uh, just give them sort of the same brightness as well as this door. Because the lighting is very, very mixed here, which in a night scene, typically I like to see really strong contrast. And then I warmed up the lights here because they were kind of clipped and blown out. So I just warmed them up to kind of bring color back into them. And I think that looks pretty natural and it complements the blue background here as well. Not crazy about this flagpole or whatever that is being there. It's very, very distracting to the tree. I guess I could get rid of it like that. So that's better. Okay. I guess the only other thing I would do is let me go here to the color. Maybe just saturate that a bit more. Yeah. So all right, so there's the original. And then here is the edit. And I tried to bring out the texture as well. Okay, I think that looks about as good as I could make it. Okay. Thank you, Claire, for sending that, and thank you for your support by becoming a member. I appreciate that. Excuse me. All right, let's see. Have here one from Claire again. Let's try to. What is there, a mirror on the ceiling here? That's interesting. All right, let me do some basic. Well, let me apply my preset first. And then let's do the perspective. Let me brighten this up. I need to see what's going on in here. Okay, so this mirror is not the whole ceiling. It's probably just over this thing, so you could see inside the boat from below. So I think an interesting picture would be to go right up under this thing and capture what's in the mirror. But as it is, and then we got these people down here. So I may not even need to use the mirror. Let's go right here. Okay. So, wow, that's more than 3 stops underexposed. And what's outside the windows is pretty useless. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring the exposure up globally, because I don't really need to see what's in these windows. And I'm gonna try and actually even overexpose these more locally. But I do need to bring back some clarity. So let's do that. And we're gonna have to deal a little bit with the noise. So let me just get rid of, whoops. I'm gonna get rid of what's in here. Then we need to bring back some clarity, maybe in here. Right about there, and there, and there. Just a little smaller. Okay, and a little bit more light on the front. With some clarity. Push the highlights a bit. Okay. And this red, I want to bring up these reds. Maybe like this, a little tighter. Do that. And seriously. Okay. I don't know if a little bit of vignette, not too much. Let's do. I'm thinking, let me try this with a graduated control line. It looks a little weird though. What the heck? I need a... I didn't mean to do that. Let me do it separately. If I make it brighter or darker, let's go a little darker. That up. Like so. Then one more down here, maybe. Can tighten this up here. All right, I'm gonna call it there. Let's export it. And once that's exported, we will reset and compare it with the export. All right, so yeah, I think that's a lot better. I didn't want to... I could have done a little bit more in here because I think I see some greens, which is kind of interesting too. I wonder... Let me just see if I can... What I'd like to do... I don't know if I can separate that or not. Just a little bit. That helps a little bit. I would have to take some time to work on that, but let me export that. Okay, now I'm done. Let me reset and compare with... So there you go. Yeah, that looks better mainly because it was just underexposed, and whatever was in these windows was useless to the scene. So I tried to minimize that. I could go in and brush a little bit more with the correction or healing brush. I would definitely go back and fix that, and definitely fix these two little dots. But overall, that's generally the direction I would go. The reflection really doesn't work too well in this image. I mean, I'm not using the reflection for anything, and the composition is just there. So, okay, very good. Let's go to the next one. So that was from Claire. Thank you for sending that one. You got a lot of interesting statues and ornaments out there. Okay, here from Phillip. Okay, let's do a basic preset. This one I'm going to do in 2 minutes. And let's get the alignment so the stick is a little straighter. That's close enough. And we'll do a square crop. Like that. And just a few local adjustments. Let's start with the eye, because this bird has kind of a brownish eye, it looks like. Yeah, so we'll do that. Give it a little clarity. The beak is already pretty strong, so I'm not going to do anything there. Yeah, wow, now the eye looks kind of a little bit too strong. Let me add a little micro contrast and then pull this back. Okay. There. And then I think, let me see if I can separate this bird a little bit. I don't have to do too much. Okay. Let's go full 2 there and then pull it back globally this way. Ooh, that doesn't look too good. Just a little bit down. And then a little bit back. Fix this eye. Okay. And we'll add some, go back to this mask. A little bit of contrast. There we go. And some minor vignette. Pull that back a little bit. And last, let's just pull this in a little bit. A little bit there. Okay, let's call it there. So it's a little bit too bright, maybe. Let me go back to this. Maybe just pull the midtones in a bit. There we go. Okay. So here's the original on the left. It's already a really nice straight out of camera image. And I think just cropping alone would probably be enough. But you didn't come here to just watch me crop an image. So I did a little bit of editing to bring the bird forward a little bit. It's a little bit too strong here in the brightness, but generally this is the direction I would go. I think just one stop. Yeah, about one stop brighter. So there you have it, before and after. I think that looks pretty good. Certainly better than it was, in my opinion. But it really, all it needed was a crop and a little bit of light on the eye. All right. Thank you, Joanne, for sending that one. And I see Eric dropped in. And, oh, Claire has a little bit of history on the boat. It's Napoleon's Imperial Canoe is the only boat of its type that France has been able to preserve in its intact. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's cool. All right. Let's see, another statue here from Joanne. And let's see. Let me apply basic preset. God, this is another one. This is another statue shot. And perspective correction. I'm going to pull this in quite a bit. And let's warm it up. And just go crazy. Oops. Okay. Bring that back up. One more here. A little push there. And some contrast. Wondering, nah. The colors are kind of interesting, but they're the fact that the statue is kind of cut off here at the top is a little bit of a problem for me. I'd like to done more of a vertical and capture everything in there, but I don't know what's all around here, so it's hard for me to tell. Okay, let me just brighten it up a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. So yeah, again, I just wanted to separate the light a little bit because it's a little bit more stark now, especially here on the background. So I brighten up the trees, I brighten up the right side of this building, and then I brighten up the right side of the statue, and it made the shadows darker. I need a little more shadow down here. I can do that with a gradient, I think. Do it this way. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. And compositionally, there's not a whole lot here I can think of because everything is cut off. The statue's cut off, the building's cut off, the trees here. There's nothing really to grab onto visually. So I think that's it. Okay. Let's do the next one. Thank you again, Joanne, for sending that. And I have here one from Michael. Okay. Let's do, I see Eric dropped in. How you doing, Eric? Okay, let's do a basic preset. Looks like an office party. Man, it's awesome office party. I think, yeah, it's gotta be. I think a white balance adjustment might be in order here. But it's gonna be tough because we got a lot of mixed lighting. I don't know if, yeah, that's close. Well, let's add a little warmth back in. And then we'll do, I'm gonna cool this off some more. Yeah, that's not making any difference. Okay. Maybe do the same thing up here. Oops, let's crop in. I'm just trying to center. And we need to pull the highlights here, if possible. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, good. And let's just add a little bit extra here. Here and here. All right, I think that's it. Let me see where we're at. Yeah. So I think that's all I would do with this. These event type images, it's hard to get too creative, so you just want to just sort of balance things. So basically all I did was crop in and center it, and then cooled off the lighting all the way around what was sort of the main thing going on here. And then just brighten the faces of the individual people because they don't really stand out here too much, except this guy, which I had to bring down. But now, yeah, I think there's good separation of the people and and the crowd. So if we look at it full screen, yeah, and do that's the before and that's the after. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay. Thank you, Michael, for sending that. And let's see, we have cityscape and a fisherman there. Oh, an XT5. That's cool. I don't think I've seen an XT5 edit come in. Let's see. Let's apply basic preset. And I'm definitely going to, let me see if this helps a little bit with the perspective, because it's a little bit crooked. This pier is pulling off to the left a little. Let's go into some local adjustments. Let me work with this background first. See if I can just give it a little more punch, a little more warmth. Whoops. Oh, I might have to do, yeah, let me do it locally. Let's bring up some of the lighting. Oops. I wanted to grab this and go back on this. Let's just bring this up a little bit. A little bit of warmth. Oops, too much. See if I can push that up there. Where are we at? 67. I want to go to about 75. Yeah. Tiny bit more magenta. Maybe, yeah, right about there. Let's do a new brush. A little bit bigger on these rocks. Push these a bit warmer. Contrast. Okay. A little bit in here. I got it. I think I got it. Okay. And this is just a regular brush. Okay. Nope, nope, nope. We need a new brush. The opacity back. Just trying to bring the sun back in a little bit. To some of these buildings. Maybe just a mild push here. A little bit there. There. Here and here. There. Trees. A little bit more. A little more. Okay, and a little bit there. All right. Let me look at the sky again. So it's a little bit of vignetting going on here. What are we at? We're at f6.3. I applied the optical correction, so why is there vignetting? Let me go down here. Just manually get rid of that. Or is there? No, there's no auto settings. So there's that. And then where's my building brush? This one. Let's see if I can give this guy just a little more. Just a little bit more emphasis. Okay, and then finally, this water, not quite happy with what's going on here. All right. And the composition, I think we can go a little bit tighter. Let me see if that looks terrible. But that water is just not right. I spent all that time on the rocks, but that's all right. I kind of like that. Okay, I'm gonna go with this. So let me export this. Sorry, I lost audio there. Sorry about that. Uh, okay. There's the before and there's the after. All right. Let's go to the next one. Let's see, where are we at? We got that one, this one. Okay, this looks like the last one. And we're going to, oof, let's apply basic preset. I think, let me just brighten this and see what we have in here. We have some trees, a little bit of underwater pier. Okay. So we exposed for the highlights basically, and I think the intent is to recover some of this shadow. But I think I'll do more of a silhouette because I just don't like this white fencing or whatever this is. So I'm going to try and do more of a silhouette. So let me see if I can just bring this side in. Okay. That's good. And I can reframe it a little bit too. Let's try 16 by 9. And where do I want the light? I want the light mostly, let me see. A lot of light here. Okay. Maybe go more to this side. Just trying to balance it a little bit. Might have to do, yeah, I think this is the best balance here. Okay, let me pull the exposure in a bit more, and then we'll start adding the light back in. Come on, new point here, right here. Just a little bit of a push here. And guess I need a new one. Let's do this. Hmm. What have I done? Okay. I'm gonna go black and white, and let's give it just a little more push somewhere. Needs to be. All right, let me look at the color again. Debating here. Color, I think I'll go with the black and white. I really need to, I need to bring this in. Okay, I'm gonna go with black and white and go with this crop. All right. All right, so the original on the left, my edit on the right, conversion to black and white. The blue and teal seem to be uh there's just these just a little bit too soft, and I didn't want to saturate it, and bringing in any kind of clarity or clear view would also affect the clouds quite a bit too. So I just didn't want to go that direction. And but I wanted to keep the high contrast, the black. So I would have liked this to be a little blacker, but overall I think this looks pretty good. Uh, so let's do a full screen, and it balances fairly well. It's not quite right. I would have liked the maybe a little more light over here. That's what we need. We need just a spot like on this boat. I think right here. I don't know if I can. That helps a little bit. But anyhow, uh, let's let's make this big as possible here. So there's the before, and there's the after. I like it. And if we do a side by side, I think that looks better. I like the black. I'm kind of partial to black and white lately because I got a black and white camera now, but okay. Let's see what you guys do with my image. So, oh, and thank you, Paul, for sending that picture for me to edit. Um, let's see. So this is my image. So I'm going to set this as the reference. This is the image I asked you guys to edit of one of mine. I use my old XZ2 Olympus camera, a little compact camera. And I thought it'd be a fun image to edit and see. But wow, yeah, I love that. Who did that one? That's from Marcel. Oh my goodness, Marcel, how you doing? It's been a long time. Um, yeah, I love this the tones that you did here. That's really nice. And bringing up the shadows in here. I mean, you totally got rid of the like the colors that I saw when I was there. But that's okay. I like this more monochromatic look. Even though it's like a sepia kind of mono, but it's nice. Very nice. And let's see, this one here is from Claire. Interesting. Man, you guys really did some interesting things here. So you made this green and then went purplish over here. Interesting. And a very good crop too. Nice 16 by 9 crop. And then this one here from Phil. Okay. So this is more of a clean, more traditional edit, right? You're not trying to do anything super creative. You just want to try to reproduce what the scene was, and I think that looks good just like that. Um, yeah, so a little bit of a crop to kind of just get rid of all this dead space everywhere. So that works. And this one's from Paul. Sorry, we went much darker here. Interesting, and a little bit soft. A little bit of softness out here on the edges. Cool. Okay. It's a good crop. And another one from Paul. Oh, that's crazy. Look at that sky. It feels like another planet. This reminds me of like the old black lighting posters we used to have when we were kids back in the 70s. I don't know why, but this reminds me of black lighting. But that's cool. And this one here is by Garrett. Oh, awesome. Like I said, I'm just in the partial to black and whites lately. But yeah, I love it. I love it. Very, very hard crop to the left side here and got rid of the beach altogether, which not a bad choice. And looks like you fixed some of the twigs too, because there should be a twig sticking out right here, but that's cool. Yeah, nice edit. And here from Marcel. Now this is definitely a monochromatic, and you moved the light all the way over to the left here. That's cool. Okay, and let's see. Oh yeah, nice clean edit with a crop. I like it, and you cleaned up all the sticks, kind of sticking out into the water. Definitely much better without those sticks everywhere. I would have done the same thing, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I edit this picture myself yet, but yeah, good crop and good cleanup of those sticks. And another one from Marcel. Looks like we have, you kind of kept the light close. The light's really over here, a little bit more to the right. I don't know. I like your other edits better. This one just is a little bit too dark all the way around. Let's see. Anything else? Nope, that looks like everything. So, uh, all right. Thanks so much for submitting those images and editing my image. It's always a lot of fun to see what you guys do. I hope you enjoy what I do with your images. Again, everything I do is very subjective. Don't take it with a grain of salt. And hopefully you learned how to use some of the tools and some of the reasons I like to use DxO Photolab. They're gonna, Black Friday is right around the corner. There's gonna be a deal on the software, so you can download the trial now using my affiliate links And then when the Black Friday deal comes, uh, you can purchase it like I did many years ago. I get it free now because because I have a channel, right? But um, I bought DxO a few years ago. I think I started with Photolab 5 and been using it ever since as my primary photo editor. So with that said, let me get to the chat. And it looks like Gregory says, let me go all the way back up here. So Paul says, my image has some similarities to your image you put up for editing. I had actually chosen mine earlier this week, so purely coincidental. Oh, okay. Yeah, your image did look very similar to the one I had here, right? Great minds think alike. And Gregory says, cool choice for black and white due to the rich tonal range. I wouldn't have considered that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been partial to black and white lately because I bought a Pentax monochrome camera and been having a lot of fun with that. And Jan says, is the sensor optics dirty or are the birds on the left side? Oh, geez, what image are we looking at? I guess you're asking about this, right? Let me find my original image. Yeah, there's a bird over here. I assume you're asking about this image. And I'm sure these are birds, but that might be a dirty sensor. But I see what you're asking. It might be. What's my aperture? Normally you wouldn't see sensor dust. I'm at f4, so I doubt that's dirt because at f4 you shouldn't be able to see sensor dust. But maybe. It does look like sensor dust. And it is a tiny sensor, so f4 is more like f16. So that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, it's probably dirty. I didn't even notice that. Okay, and let's see. Thanks for offering us. Oh, sure, Gert. Thanks for watching. And Greg says, I kind of like some of the six since it drew the eye to the distance. Yeah, I can see that. Yep. And Jan says yes. Okay. So I guess that's it for today. So everyone, thanks so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. And I'll try and do these every Friday if I can, which I don't see any reason not to. As long as you guys keep sending images. The only thing I would ask is just try to send one image at a time. Because I know as time goes on, I like when I was doing this last year or the year before on a regular basis, I started getting 25, 30 images to edit, and I just couldn't do it. It was too much. So try to keep it down to one image at a time if you can, and that'll allow me to do more edits for more people. And if you enjoy these, of course, I appreciate your support through buying me a coffee or becoming a member. Uh, really helps me out a lot as well. So you guys have a great weekend. I'm gonna do some birding, I think, this weekend, going up to Conowingo Dam and do some eagles and stuff. So if I do, I will give you a picture of an eagle to edit my picture next week. But that's all I have for today. You guys have a great weekend.